100% women.
I think guys still have easier lives.
Oh, guys, oh, for sure.
Guys.
Girls.
Girls do.
I think that there are areas that are easier for each.
Guys, yeah.
Women have easier lives. That's just 100% fact.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel D for Dandy. My name is Asad and today we'll be going out on the streets and ask a debatable question. And the question is, who has easier lives? Guys or girls? Let's find out.
Guys. Because patriarchy?
I think we have to battle less in society. I don't think necessarily being a guy is fucking easy though. I wouldn't say either is easy. But I would say if we're looking at absolutely every facet of being a person, I think girls have it harder, yeah, for sure.
Women, yeah, definitely.
Why?
Man, we're very expected to do everything as males, aren't we? So, there's always high standards for us, but for women there's not. So that's my own opinion. But look, I think men got it a lot harder these days because we're expected to, do everything essentially, and those expectations are always so high.
I think guys still have easier lives. The tides are changing, which is good. There's more equality in the world, especially in the Western world, but I still think men have it easier. I have a lot of women friends, and the social things that they have to put up with and things they have to put up with in the workplace are still not right. They're still backwards.
Girls, it's easier because the men are there to provide.
It's very easy for them?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just have more opportunity. It's just easier to walk down the street. That's the biggest one, man. That would bug me. That would really bug me. Not being able to walk out of my house and just feel safe. Sure, as a guy, most guys have been assaulted by other guys on the street, but it's pretty rare. It's rare that happens. Whereas every woman that I know, it's almost guaranteed to be harassed at least a couple of times during the week.
Women have easier lives. That's just 100% fact. If you go to third world countries, okay, then I can understand the feminists, their problems. Women have it harder here. In Western society, it's completely reversed. Women have higher rates of graduating and entering into university. Women actually have more pay, and so the biggest myth is that there's a wage gap, which is completely false. Google actually had public pressure to do a study and find out what the difference is between men and women, and they actually found out they were paying women more, and another big company did this as well. And then women who don't want to believe that, they're just oh, that's just one company, oh, that's just another big company. Any fact or any proof that disproves their narrative, they don't want to believe. It's almost a crime to be a man, and this idea of toxic masculinity doesn't exist. The biggest problem in society is actually toxic femininity, and the way that they can openly shit on men. For example, Andrew Tate gets banned off TikTok, but there's a million female versions of Andrew Tate on TikTok. Does anyone bat an eyelid? No, you never hear a single thing about them.
I guess I'd say guys. I was just at a Christmas party with my co-worker before. I walked her home because that's something that I don't have to really consider. If I'm walking home from a late night, I don't really have to consider that much my safety isn't necessarily in jeopardy.
Oh, guys, oh, for sure. Because you don't have to go through so much things like pregnancy, periods. We spend so much money on a daily basis just to look good. Yeah.
100% women. As a bloke myself, I find it really hard to speak out about my issues and emotions when it's more, I guess men are more advertised to speak up a lot more, but at the same time, it's really hard to speak up. Me personally, I find it really hard to talk about my emotions.
See, my friends and I always talk about this, and we typically say girls do. The suicide rate in the guys is higher. It's 3 times as high. I think the reason for that is because there's more pressure on guys to be successful, however you define that. But in the Western sense, and objectively, success is defined by looks, money, status. And if you don't have those things, you might be on the lower end and might not be happy and therefore decide to do something terrible and you can't manage your own thoughts and take your own life. I think women get rid of their insanity in increments because they can talk to their friends, they can cry about it. As a guy, it's not encouraged to be that vulnerable.
I actually don't know. I do wonder this because I was like, if I could choose, would I pick to be the opposite gender? I think that there are areas that are easier for each. I think at the moment, guys are like, especially straight men, are getting a bit of a hard go in terms of like, they've almost got to apologise for existing. But I think that women, you know, just historically have had it harder. We're physically weaker. We're, you know, I feel like we've got more expectations on us.
Welcome back to the Dandy Studio. So many arguments, so many opinions. And I must admit, some comments were really convincing. You know us, we love giving you insights based on data. Here's what we found. Men are 50-50 on this issue, but an overwhelming majority of women are convinced that guys have easier lives. Yes, women talked about the gender pay gap. Yes, they talked about biological hardships. But one issue that stood out the most was their safety. Many women said that a guy can walk freely on the streets without the fear of getting harassed. But a woman cannot do the same. Women always have to look over their shoulders. The sentiment was consistent across all regions, except for Asia. More Asians said that girls have it easy, but it did not make a big dent in our overall results, because the majority still thinks that guys have easier lives. Thank you for watching the video. If you want us to ask a specific question for the future episodes, then please leave us a comment. Do subscribe to our channel and see you next time. Stay dandy.